now. And we're live. Hey guys, wait, hit one more. Because I'm also going on, I'm going on Twitter for the first time. Does it let me? Okay, it's not letting me go on Twitter. Hold on. I'll have to change it to Facebook. No problem. Sorry about this, Ken.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I never went on Twitter before. I thought they had it down where you could, but okay. Anyways, so I think we're just on Facebook and YouTube. Try to go on Twitter. We are live, guys. Federal Prison Talk. Even though today we're talking about a state prison, San Quentin. Have you heard of it? If you haven't heard of San Quentin, guys, I mean, really, this guy Ken. I've known Ken a long time now, and I've met Ken in person, and he's real, guys. He corrected me, not 4 decades in San Quentin, but 39 years, and he's got a book out. He's got a YouTube channel. It's all underneath in the description. I'm going to give you Ken right now. Ken, take it away.
Greetings. Glad to be here, Sean. Thank you for that. It's been nice knowing you and getting, hanging out with you and stuff as we have. We had some nice, interesting common individuals in our lives who, shall we say, are quite interesting too.
By the way, CA is so big out here, Ken, that AA and NA are just like in the dust.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop there.
My program, I don't put it out there. It's the oldest. Leave it there.
I know, and it's the original, and it is the best one.
Yeah. And what I've gotten from sobriety is a way of living that has definitely made my life meaningful, productive. I got interviewed here. I don't know how long ago was that interview? 2 years ago?
Oh, maybe 2 years.
I don't think I was married.
Are you gonna do a story about that first meeting? You started the very first meeting in any prison in any.
No.
In the whole country, right? Or at least in San Quentin, didn't you?
No.
I thought you did.
No.
You were involved in that? No.
No, there's a meeting there that me and somebody else got put together that it's now the biggest meeting in the prison system.
Okay, you started H&I. You founded H&I? You founded H&I?
I didn't. No.
I'm gonna give you way too much credit, Ken. I gotta. Oh,
H&I started when I was about 2 years old. So
all right. Ken,
I hadn't explored my disease.
So high, man, all these years.
Yeah. No, I hadn't explored my disease at that point. So San Quentin was where I did the last. I got there in 1993 and I paroled in 2017. So that was a huge chunk of my incarceration. And I'll just go into what I was thinking about talking about. I mean, it's like San Quentin is a place where you have a lot of programming and stuff going on. And there's a lot of these programs that people, in so many ways, San Quentin is where everybody, all the lifers and everybody, they're trying to get there so that they can participate in what's going on there. And help
they got a radio station, a TV station, right? They got a publishing company, I think, all that, right?
Yeah, they got San Quentin News. I got my wife texting me, watching what's going on there. But anyways.
Yeah, I finally saw a picture of your wife after 20 years. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah. But San Quentin is what they call a programming institution. Lifers, when we talk about our behavior inside the prison system, you're either quote off the hook or you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. As a matter of fact, one of my full-length novels is about this character who goes into the prison system at the age of 16 doing a triple homicide.
I didn't know you wrote a novel.
I've written
I guess you had time.
Yeah, I wrote 3 while I was in prison. And I was very involved in writing. I'll put in right now the website that I got. And it's a link that hang on a second.
I'm gonna fix the echo there. My bad, guys. It should be all fixed. I'm sorry.
There you go.
That's my man. I forgot to do that.
So it wasn't anything we were doing. It was just
it's all me. It's all me.
Yeah,
It's all me.
yeah. But San Quentin is where where you go to program, okay, and you want to do your time and you want to prepare yourself for release. See, the thing is that and I don't mean to disrespect anybody, but I say it very clearly is that when people start talking about being a convict, one of the things I ask them very clearly is, so where do you put convict on a resume?
Ooh.
It does not fit. And the only place it's good for is inside of the prison system. Now there's
or the streets maybe. No.
Oh, well, I mean, it depends.
That liquor store on 4th and Townsend, maybe. I don't know.
That's where it goes, and I don't want to be there, and I don't want to be a part of it. And when I got clean and sober inside of the prison system, I asked myself, what do I want to be when I get out, if and when I get out? And has nothing to do with being a convict. There's principles involved in there that I definitely, I mean, first of all, I don't believe in snitching unless somebody's life is in peril. If I thought somebody was going to get murdered, I'd have to do something to intervene on that. But
I draw the line with the little 3-year-old children that are going to get raped. I'm calling somebody because I'm not going back to prison to stop it. I'm calling.
Yeah, that's
call me what you want.
Yeah, no, but what I'm talking about is inside of a prison where
there's inside. Yeah. I don't nothing.
And the philosophies, the philosophies that it represents are, on some levels good, but on some levels, I don't think that it has any purpose at all. And the idea that it's us against them, many of the staff that they're now retired are Facebook friends of mine. And I'm very involved, and they're good friends of mine. I've been over to their houses, including the retired warden of San Quentin.
I was going to say, I think you've had lunch with them more than once, right? Or some kind of get together.
Yeah, and but I walk my walk with the idea that I wanted to do it, and I'm a Christian, and I walk my walk like I was going to do it as if I was out on the streets. I didn't have a single tattoo walking out of prison. I got 2 now. That's
you got those after prison.
After prison.
After 39? Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm clean too. I don't have none because I wanted to piss the cops off. Because every time I went to jail, they said, you don't have any marks, no bruises, no tattoos. I knew I would be back, Ken, so I didn't get any. That's a really smart guy, right?
Yeah, well, and it's about principles, and that's what this represents for me is that a way of living a life that is meaningful and productive. Okay. And when I talk about productive, I mean that where I can be of help to other people. And some of the things that I did as a part of that was, I found a passion for writing. Okay. And the thing about writing for me is that, my famous quote, and that's not mine originally, is writing untangles my thoughts. And it is just something about that process of putting pen to paper or typing it out on a keyboard to look at it on a screen. And the idea that I'm seeing my own thoughts on a piece of paper, on a screen and everything like that, it gave me some clarity of thought that I otherwise just really didn't have before that.
I understand. I wrote so many letters in prison. I don't know if I wrote a letter since I've been out. But reading books and writing letters, I mean, where else? The best place to do is in prison. Your mind is like the perfect, it's the perfect vessel for that, right, Ken?
So, I started to work when I first transferred to San Quentin. I'd become a computer proficient at that point. And I was typing 120 words a minute back then.
What year did you say computer proficient? What year?
1993.
Did they have computers in 93?
Yes, they did. And they were the.
Well, I know.
And I programmed in DBase for those of us old enough to know what that is, and I was good at it, and so I went to work at San Quentin in the reception center there, and working for a particular captain who went on to become a warden, and who's now a personal friend of mine still, and there was many staff that I worked for while I was incarcerated that now are they're Facebook friends because they knew me to be somebody who had integrity.
That happens quite often, doesn't it? When people do 20 years and up, they get to know the staff. Doesn't that when they retire? Doesn't that kind of happen more than people would think.
Well, a lot of it, yeah. I look at some of the guys, and there's, when some of the staff, retired staff that I've been actually, without naming names, some of them are still working at San Quentin. They're, because I'm off parole, they can do, our relationship doesn't matter. I see who they're connected to, and and they're connected to some of the guys that did time as well as me. And we got, the reason why is because they saw us as people of responsible and, having responsible behavior and conduct and had integrity. Okay. We didn't cheat. We didn't lie. We didn't steal. We weren't all into the nonsense and chasing after the drugs and alcohol. and
I find that more true with lifers or long-term inmates, right? As opposed to somebody just doing, a bucket a quarter and they're, 2 years and they're out, right?
Unfortunately true, and that's the reality is that because they figure that, well, the philosophy that I saw happen in there, and San Quentin is a good example of them trying to break that philosophy is that I'll deal with it when I get out. But while I'm here,
and it's not going to happen if you wait till then.
Yeah.
That's like right now you're gonna
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do one more league and then two more just to get enough money. Then I'm gonna stop. Same thing, right? Same.
Exactly the same. Is that they think that they're going to be able to come up in this way, and and then it's like, as a Christian, it's like no, what you sow is what you reap, and that's a fact. That's as far as I'm concerned. There were so many guys, and like I said, I worked in a reception center, and guys would come back in on parole violations, out 2, 3, 4 months. And they go, oh man, the parole agent set me up, and there was a bogus.
It's out to get me. They can't win. It's job security for them. I think they're still saying it. Ken.
Yeah. And then I ask them a simple question: so what didn't you get caught for? That did they just like, they didn't like that. It's like, but the fact was that they were off the hook. Okay.
You know Mark Lindholm, right?
Mark who?
Lindholm. That's James's NA sponsor. He's a comedian guy, Mark Lindholm.
I know about him. I've never met him. But
to steal a line of his, because he goes to the jails and prisons, and he says, they always say life's not fair, right? Because I got caught robbing a bank on Tuesday. Normally I rob on Mondays. It's because he says, well, if life's not fair, how much time do you think you would get if you got sentenced for every crime that you ever got away with? How much time would you get? I'm just glad life's not fair. That's his line.
Yeah, and that's exactly where it comes down to is that they want to put it out there, and the reality is when I think of the word not fair, it's like according to who, and it's a simple question. It's like you're not fair is somebody else's okay, and it's so subjective, and it's so
one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter.
Yeah, well, I don't, let's just say, so whatever Big Brother's watching us right now, we're not talking about terrorism.
No.
But yeah,
The View, don't take it out of context. If the View's watching this, come on, Whoopi, calm down.
So, but the thing I point out is that when we start talking about what's fair and what's not fair, all of a sudden it becomes just somebody's opinion. Now but somebody happens to have about 10,000 other people with the same opinion doesn't change the fact that it's still just their opinion. I won't argue with them. There's a lot of people think that I should have never got out of prison. There's a whole lot of people that think that I should have done, a whole lot less time than I did. Or, and that's okay.
Yeah, I feel that every day, Ken. Still with the Wings for Life, Foundation. I'm always the conversations I have on a daily basis, Ken.
Yeah. So the thing,
and one soul at a time.
Yeah. So the thing that I come to is that it's all about acceptance. And it's like we have a serenity prayer to change the things we can. And the wisdom to know that accept the things we cannot change the things we can. Wisdom to know the difference.
And the courage part.
It is a simple situation there, and I do my best to walk it within those boundaries. Of course, I have my opinions about the world and everything else, best thing I've ever heard about opinions is that they're like our buttholes. We all have one, and all of them stink. Okay. So,
Yeah, yeah, and I don't want to. I don't even want to. I don't want to know. Yeah,
I don't want to go. I'm not going to
yeah,
go.
yeah. I don't want that.
I'm not going into the gutter with any of this.
No, no, no.
But it is a fact, and I've learned to live a good life, and I've had a great time since I've been out because
How long you been out now, Ken? I can't remember.
I'm just coming up on August 20th. I will have 7 years parole.
7 years, okay.
Yeah.
And that's I met you like maybe what a year or two when you first got out, maybe.
Yeah.
I've been in New Mexico 3 years. I think I've known you 2 years before that.
Yeah, before COVID, we met.
Yeah, before COVID. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, who'd have thought
Yeah. Yeah. So I was a writer for a long time in there. I wrote the first novel I ever wrote while I was incarcerated. I banged it out on this little word processor that I got to use, and it was a small little thing. It was portable. I could take it over to this to where I was working, and I could download it there, get it printed out, do editing and reviews and stuff like that. And I got it up to the point that I thought, okay, I'm going to submit this, and I got it, and I sent it to this one publisher, and the publisher says, we're interested, and we'd like to publish this. And so they took it through all the steps, and what I think the last step, they finally said, no, we're not going to do that, and we're not going to publish it. And I says, okay, no problem. I'll just type out. I'll just bang out another short story, novel, and then you'll take that one. And as a result of that, I found out that writing is hard. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And the process and the things like that. But fortunately for me, and this is all posted up on the website, is the writing class that I got involved in, and it's called Brothers in Pen, and it's a creative writing class in there, and the teacher there, her name is Zoe Mullery. She's still going in. I met her way back when, and I was the oldest, still the oldest participant in the class.
Ken, I gotta give you applause. I got sound effects now. I had to try them out.
Okay, that sounded okay to me. So you're going to let my head get bigger and bigger here is what you're doing. I got involved in that class while I was in the middle of writing my second novel. And
now, I don't want to keep interrupting, but how many novels have you written? And then get back to your second.
I got a total of 3. So I'm going to get to the third one here.
Okay.
And so, I worked that one out. I sent it out thinking that, the world would just, come to my door and applaud me and everything else. And not, like you just did. And I got all these thumbs downs, no thank yous, and disappointments and things like that. And it's nothing any other accomplished writer hasn't gotten. So I knew I was, I had to have a thick skin about what I was doing there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just got it in the mail. So.
Anyways, so I, staying on this class, and I loved the class. I loved the dynamics of it, and it was really teaching me some deep, rich experience about what it meant to be, telling a story in a very real way. And one of the things that this writing instructor Zoe does, is that she puts out these writing assignments, writing assignments. I'm getting old. I'm blanking out on names.
I turned 60, a couple months ago, Ken. So I know you're.
Yeah, but
sometimes I have a Joe Biden moment.
Yeah, I have those too. So yeah.
I'll make this perfectly clear. Okay, we're not.
Yeah, I won't call you Vice President Trump though. I was doing these. She handed these writing assignments. It was me and another guy actually were doing them. Okay, and he had his twist on what he would do with them. My focus was on prison experience. and the world of life inside of incarceration and everything like that. And ironically, I'm the only one in the class who wrote about prison. Everybody else wanted to be out, and they wanted to write stories. It was either fantasy or it was about this. It was
Or escape from Alcatraz, maybe if it's prison.
well, no, not even that. It was like wanting. Well, we had some guys that wanted to talk about the lifestyle of the criminal lifestyle out there. There we had guys who wrote some very bizarre science fiction and stuff like that, but it was quite interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of the Birdman of Alcatraz wrote all about birds, and nobody even knew he was in prison. So
yeah, and I wrote about prison life. And
there's a lot of it going out around now. There's the thug, the gang life. There's the white collar one. There's the happy ending after. There's the guy who never.
Yeah.
The
genre, the prison stories I wrote, could essentially be, in the line of Green Mile.
Okay.
Stephen King. Telling about life experience.
Were they about you, or were you at least part of the story,
it was about life as it would unfold inside of the prison system.
Like your mind's eye watching it, maybe.
Yes, absolutely. My life experience inside of the prison system, made things very real, very, very much to the point of what this would be like. And if you go to my website, the first story in the anthology that I wrote, and here it is, the distance.
The distance between right and wrong. And it's all underneath the video, guys. There's the link, the book, YouTube channel. It's all underneath this video, guys.
Thank you very much. And so you can just read the first story if you want and see what it's about. And it tells a very, 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 very interesting story about life experience inside. This guy, the one you can read on, his cellie commits suicide. Okay. And most people would never have a clue of what happens as a result of that. But the reality is that if you have a cellmate, they kill themselves, even though they know you're not involved. This guy was way gone behind another gate and everything like that. Couldn't have done it. But they locked him up in the hole.
At least 90-day investigation in the Fed.
Well, it can be, but it was long enough to, I didn't make it 90 days because I wanted to shorten, the storyline was not there, but it typically is 90 days. But this guy, his experience of having to have a cellie kill himself, and how that unfolded.
Yeah.
And so there was, and it was, and in the middle of all that, it's not about cops and robbers, because you see a lot of staff that are acting cool. They're very, very supportive of this guy and what's going on with him, and very caring about how this is unfolding in his life. And then you have other staff that they don't care about any of that, and they're just there to pick up a paycheck.
That's kind of like life. I got the bitch in the asshole I work with, and I got the guy Gary that works his ass off. I got the family guy. I got the youngster. Same kind of thing, right?
Well, I trust that whoever that one person was, they're not going to watch this video.
No, I'm talking about past jobs, way before California jobs.
Okay, yeah, just to clarify.
I don't have that here. I work with three of my good friends that I met at Florence Federal Prison in Colorado, and one of them is our executive director now. And I got Max. Five of us, we work together. It's the most. I will lay down the traffic for these guys. I always tell them I'll move before the cars come, but I'll lay down the traffic for you.
They were on the interview last time I came through here, weren't they?
I think they were. But they were. Max wasn't executive director, and now he is. So our old director stepped down, and we are doing things, Ken, like I never thought possible. We are. I personally have brought over 200 clients to our office, and at least try to. I mean, I maybe 20% of them now have a job in their own place. They do the work. I just do the introductions. I just introduce. That's all I do. And you sell yourself.
Yeah, that's my job.
I believe in the thing with them.
Yeah. Since the last time I met, we did this. That's a job that I picked up too. I work for two nonprofits I go to the prisons, pick up the guys. Most of these, most of my pickups are guys who've done over 30, 20 years and plus. And I meet them at the gate. I tell them who I am. I tell them how much time I did, and I tell them you can do this. You can walk out of this world and make your life good.
Yes,
Take them to breakfast, and I feed them and give them a good meal. And then I drive them long. Most of the drives are over 400 miles to where they're going to be.
Ooh, so there's a little bit of conversation, maybe.
Yeah, well, no, yeah. Some of it, sometimes it's not a good conversation as far as where they're at too, because some of them come out half cocked, and
Yeah. I just stop here. I got to see my homeboy. We're gonna stop at this liquor store, and then we get what?
Those are the ones who were short termers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That I pick up. I had one guy come out of the prison. He was loaded on meth. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, they probably have more of that side than you can get on the streets.
Yeah. He got into my car. He pulled down the shade and he opened up the mirror and he started poking his finger.
Oh, no. You tell me got fentanyl now, buddy. You're gonna have to give that up.
Yeah. No, but I gave, it's like I gave him an earful. It's like, it's like he didn't, but when you tell them you've done 39 years in prison, and
if being in that car, you could go back to prison for having that.
So I basically give them a
ultimatum.
Well, I don't. It's not an ultimatum, but it's just kind of like a lowdown on what it's going to be like, and what life and consequences are. It's like. I just tell them, so I know where this is going. I'm not confrontational. I just talk in general about things and tell them, hey, you want to, this is the lifestyle that I ran into while I was in prison. And these are the general results of what had happened as a result of them lacking in any responsibility in their life.
If they're calling you or they're calling me, they've already made their mind up that they want to change at least a little bit, usually. But the people that are ready to go back, they're not calling me. They're not calling you.
No, not generally, but unfortunately, there's people that reach out for help because they got themselves in a world of hurt, mm-hmm. who don't really realize the responsibility that's put on their shoulders as a result of wanting to change.
Yeah, I mean, Project 96 times.
Yeah.
Say no more.
I saw Jim Stansberry a couple of days ago too, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went down to Marin County and spoke.
Nice.
But they don't. The when you start talking about them, okay, this is what being responsible with your life looks like. They're like, oh hell no, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, no, that's too hard. And that's who I was when I came to prison too. I was like, I was off the hook. I was totally insane. Totally crazy about things. Living under a bridge, but the thing that I like to talk about when it comes to what it takes for a person to change is that they decided that they have suffered enough. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And then they have to make and shoulder up the burdens of whatever that responsibility is in order to stop the misery that they're in. Some people never get there. Some people.
I know jail was not my bottom. Prison was not my bottom. Leaving my family and telling them just to go, drop off the edge of the world because I'm none of that. You know what I mean? Our bottoms. Prison's not a bottom, but something happens.
Yeah. It can be a bottom or it isn't. I
got mine on pretrial, Ken, before I went in.
Yeah.
Think. I'm pointing up.
Yeah, I just wanted somebody to try to call me, and
they can call in the show too. We got speakers, but nobody. So
I can
send. If they do want to call in, guys, you can. So
yeah. So, anyways, let me.
Well, Ken, I'll say that on Monday nights, have you heard of RDAP? That's a residential drug abuse program. It's the feds do it. A lot of states. I've been out 5 years now, Ken. I teach that on Monday nights. I go to the Federal Halfway House here in Albuquerque. I got a really good rapport with the director. He's been on this channel a couple of times. And I pick up, we get 10, 20 different guys. We usually have about 30 guys. I have interns and college students too, but we sit in a circle, and it's a support group. It's a reentry support group, and I love it. I take the fifth grade teacher I had, the third grade, the 10th grade, a bunch of Mike McCormick from, well, I shouldn't say names, but people from, San Francisco and some of those programs I was in. I put it all together, and I didn't know, Ken, I have a way of getting through to people.
Yeah.
I had no clue, Ken.
I am going on a Zoom meeting. I'm going on a Zoom meeting on Wednesday for an Arizona prison system.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
they're going to be boiling. They have no AC in Arizona. They have a fan if they're lucky. They can order it on commissary. Arizona is a hot place to do your time, man.
Yeah. Well, my brother was a prison guard there, and he's in the story that I'm going to read from.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Your brother was a prison guard, and wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Could he actually work at San Quentin, and but they would have had him transfer?
No.
Did you already have a family member in the same prison?
No, you cannot do that, and at least it would be an insane idea to have that happen.
Or I should say, correctional officer. They don't want to be called guard.
He got a tour of San Quentin when he came to visit me, though. Because I worked as a clerk, I had all the connections. I asked this lieutenant to show him around, and he came in. He showed his badge, and he says, "Come on in, take a look around." And so he walked around the prison, got an inside tour. So that was.
Oh, I'm sorry. My cousin Wayne Reeder, he was a nurse, a male nurse at San Quentin for about 10 years. I forgot that. Did you know Wayne was kind of tall, curly hair? Wayne, he was a male nurse at San Quentin. He worked there for like 10 years.
Well, it depends on where he worked at.
I don't know which section, but he worked there from like 95 to 2005, and then he committed suicide on my grandmother's couch because his girlfriend left him, and he took a bottle of pills and couldn't take it. But 10 years he was at San Quentin, man. I forgot to tell you that.
I think I remember something about a nurse killing himself, but I don't. Yeah, but so anyways, I was doing all this writing, and so I started to submit my stories, and the place I submitted them was PEN America. Okay.
I know there's a lot of publishers out there that a lot of inmates send it to, but is this one of the good ones, Ken? I don't know.
It's PEN America is a nonprofit that it's supporting writing everywhere and anywhere. It's about the freedom of the press, type things, and international. It's international, as a matter of fact. But PEN America has this national prison writing contest that they put on every year. Okay, and I submitted one of my stories. It was a boxing story it was a story about boxing in San Quentin back in the day. And
boxing matches on back in the day, right? I guess
back in the day, a lot of this stuff never happens anymore. But so I find it, just sidebar here. I find it quite interesting when San Quentin went through this transformation from what it used to be like in the early '80s and all the things that was going on there, to what it was like in the late 2009 and onwards.
Well, I know they had prison reform in the 60s or 70s, and then that guy Reagan came in, and they brought it back, and it's been going back. I don't know how many times you got hope, and then it got taken away while you were there.
Well, but so they were doing all this stuff in the early '80s, when I first came into the system, and there was all this self-help programs and all this stuff, and so when they started bringing it back in. And I'd been through all that, and they were coming at me, and they're saying, "Well, why don't you do this program?" And I tell them, "I already did it." "What do you mean? It's brand new?" And I said, "No, it's the same thing that happened, and I went through this. I experienced it. Now it's not difficulty or changes, and ultimately, I did go through some of the programs that they were offering, but I had my own focus on life at that point, and I wasn't sure I was ever going to get out. So I was more interested in doing the things that I love to do, and one of them was writing. And so I got an honorable mention out of PEN America for my first, one of the boxing story that I got, and that kind of lifted me up, and I started doing more writing, more storytelling and stuff like that. A few other of my stories got published in small things. The story about my father who came to see me after I told you about earlier.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the story of my father after my brother was murdered, and his visit to me. And I'll read some of that story to the group here, or to the interview. Um,
Yeah,
but
read some passages. That would be great.
yeah, and but I was doing the writing, involved in that, very active in other programs, including the 12-step program I'm a part of, and also my Bible college. I got graduated from 2-year seminary program. Got 2 different diplomas out of them, and was being of service in those areas, and doing teaching Bible classes and stuff like that. So, I had my life set up in the way that I thought it was going to unfold, but somebody pushed me into doing some of the other things and getting involved in these self-help programs that I really knew what they were about already. But and there were good programs. There was nothing bad about them. San Quentin right now is on, as far as it goes, and Governor Newsom's intentions for it is to make this into a central hub for rehabilitation. And
Oh, great, it's back. Because San
yeah,
Quentin's always been the forerunner,
well, anyway,
until the next politician takes it away.
yeah. So yeah, and that's very, very possible. But they have this whole, this mission that they're on right now to bring this stuff in there, and it's great. And by the way, I am coming back into San Quentin on August 17th,
All right.
and I'm going in there not for any other, for any 12-step program, but for the San Quentin newspaper. I was the editor of that,
Oh.
and
What's the name of that newspaper?
it is the San Quentin News.
Oh, I thought it was something else, but San Quentin News. You
And-
guys?
Yeah, and I'm still attached to it.
What's the radio show then? Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
No, that's Ear Hustle. And
That's
then
what?
you got Ear Hustle, and then I guess they got something else. They started up
Do
just.
they still have the public defender show? That used to be the most popular one. Ask the public defender.
No, I don't remember that one.
That was everybody in prison tuned into that one because you could call in and ask the public defender a question.
I don't remember that one. Yeah,
That was back in. I wasn't in San Quentin, but I was. Ken, I used to watch prison movies and prison documentaries. Ever fascinated, right? Having no idea one day would go to a prison.
yeah,
Careful what you get fascinated in, guys.
yeah. But I did a few of those programs, but and then I got to a point around 2009 where I started to just kind of feel like, why am I doing all this writing? What's the point of it? I don't think it's of any value at all.
Oh, is that self-talk, Ken?
And it's like, a lot of the guys in the class disdained my writing because it was about prison. And, right at that time when I just kind of was thinking, I need to, I think I'm going to go do something else. I heard that there was this world famous author who was coming to visit San Quentin, and her name was Joyce Carol Oates. Okay. And if you know that,
I don't know her, but maybe enlighten us.
Am I freezing up or you? So
I'm good.
Okay.
I said I'm not familiar with her name, but I think I asked you this last time.
Yeah, well, she was coming into the writing to a program, the college program, and she was doing workshops in there. So I looked her up and I saw that this woman had, she was, phenomenally famous in terms of writing and short story and fiction and stuff like that. So I brought her over went over to the class she was in, and I said, I brought in there one of the Brothers in Pen's anthologies where we'd written some short stories, and I including one of mine. And I was holding up the anthology to her, and I says, we'd love for you to come to our writing class and, do a workshop and everything. And so she takes the anthology and she says, I'd love to do so, but I'm busy right now. And she had a New York bestseller going on and everything. She says, but I'd love to read this anthology. And I said, by all means, do so. Class starts, and she and it's some young kid. And when I say young, it's these guys in his 35 or so, and and he was lecturing and everything like that. I'm looking at her, and she's bored stiff, And after a couple seconds, she grabs the anthology off the table, cracks it open, and starts reading. And she's kind of slouched back and a little bored about things at first. And then she starts to read. And the first story in the book is what she's reading, and that's mine. And
Wow.
she goes from this slouched position to all of a sudden she's sitting up and she's looking at it, and she goes to the back, to the bios, to the front. She elbows her husband. She
Wow,
points.
what a coincidence.
Yeah. And so, I'm all, and it's like, wow. So then, we get an, emergency recall, emergency count. And so I go over to shake her hand, say goodbye. And as I'm reaching out, she says, "You write good," and it's like, I just froze. And she says, "You write good." I said, "Thank you." So,
You mean I write well?
she used good, and that's her choice. But yeah, so yeah. But in any case, this dialogue, not.
No, that must really that must have just. I mean, it just must have felt like right here, like
Yeah.
wow, like I mean, you felt worth it felt worth something, right? That right then and there, you must have.
So I gave her the thing, but I never heard another word from her. And then all of a sudden, a flyer comes out, across the nation, for San Quentin. And hang on here, just a sec, coming back, not going away.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my drink. I'm listening to.
For that there's a Akashi publishers, Akashi Books. They want to put together a collection of short stories, prison short stories, and they had certain stipulations. Only one story per prison, and
per prison. Wow.
Yeah,
one short story per prison, per author, or just per prison.
One each prison, is going to get selected. One story from each prison will be selected, and they, and they set up some parameters for it. And the person who was going to be picking the stories and then editing them was Joyce Carol Oates.
Wow.
So, I said, I hammer out my story. I mean, it's like, I had already had the story written, and it was called Rat's Ass. And then, but I worked on it, and I, went over it a dozen times and everything like that.
Rat's ass, like being a rat in prison, not the creature, but the
like, as in, I don't give her.
Tell me to read the book, Ken.
Don't give a rat's ass about this. Okay. That's what it was.
I'm gonna go buy the book if I want to really know.
Yeah, well, it's in the anthology that I. But I get a letter back a couple weeks later. Congratulations, you have been selected for San Quentin's story. And and it had to be about San Quentin. So I'm included in this anthology right here of short stories. You're not going to get the link.
You hold that up for me again?
Yeah. So one of my stories is published in a collection of short stories from across the nation right there. But I put it in my book, so please buy my book instead. Just ignore that one, but it's a reference point.
Hey, real quick, there's a guy that has a YouTube channel, Matt Cox. He's also an author, and he always brings people on and helps them like push their book.
Oh, really?
Get with those guys. I can show you his website. He did. He was the Treasury Department's most wanted, and he was also the FBI's top 20 most wanted. He did like 20 years for title, stealing people's houses while they're still sitting in them and selling them. But anyways, he's written a lot of books like you, but he's got a channel called True Crime. Anyways, I'll hook you up with my guy's personal phone number. He's been on my show a lot. He'll help you. He'll help you get your book going. He's not a guy. He's not scandalous anymore. Although there's something like you might not want to trust him all the way, but you're glad he's living his life now.
Yeah.
So he helps people.
Well, that's kind of like where I'm with you, Sean. I don't know. So
I'm an open book.
I tease. 100%. Yeah, it's. But yeah, and it's like you got to put your.
They still don't trust me, okay? I mean, they used to call me people. Now they just don't call me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I got selected for this story, and I got published in it. And I continued to submit to Pen America, and then about a year later, I got accepted by Pen America again for another short story of mine, a prison short story. And then I was kind of wrapping up my incarceration, and I got in 2017, I walked out the door after 39 years of prison life. And it was in my 40th. It was the 40th year of incarceration. So technically, you're kind of right in pushing that out there that way.
Have you given up at this point? I mean, there's always the hope, I know, but had you pretty much figured you're gonna die in there?
No,
this last year before you got released.
No, I started to see the writing on the wall, and it's like I started to see that they were opening the doors. See, because what happened is that back in the early 90s, they slammed the door shut. No lifers are getting out. I mean, I had a parole date all the way back in 1980. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I know. And then Barack Obama came. He kind of
this is way before all that.
But I mean, it comes in waves. They'll release people. They'll reform. They'll bring up old cases, and then 10 years of no, nothing. Your guys are right. Don't they play with your mind in there when you?
Well, they passed laws. One of them was a Youth Offender Act, because they determined that guys going to prison that had done crimes and I was 19. They were up to 25 or something like that. They hadn't been matured enough and developed enough, so you really can't hold them as accountable. Then they had the old timer act, where if you had done excessive time in prison, you need to have that be weighted out on you.
Then they had the career. They had the 3 strikes. Then they had the. Did you have an actual life sentence, or what was your initial sentence?
7 to life.
7 to life.
Yeah.
7 to life. Oh, yes. I don't remember the 7.
Yeah, that's because you're young. Okay, you just haven't, because that's what it used to be. 7 to life was for first degree murder, which is what I got.
And how often does did that 7 ever happen?
These days, never. They changed the law all the way back in 1979, and everybody coming into the prison system after that was doing 25 to life. I walked out the door a free man. And the world out here, it was fast, it was furious. I had prepared myself well, but nevertheless, I had to make a living. I had to live life out here and everything like that. So my writing just kind of took to the side and got set to the side. And I've done a little bit of storytelling and stuff like that. And certainly I keep my writing. Well, as a matter of fact, during COVID, San Quentin newspaper, they needed the guys were locked up, so they couldn't do the work at the newspaper. So I was writing stories and getting published in the San Quentin newspaper again. And I've been participant in that for a long time, and think it is a phenomenal paper. Okay, it's done fantastic things.
I'd like to read. Can anybody subscribe to it?
Yes, it's you can go on the website, San Quentin News. It's on the web, and it's available for reading all the world.
So we could not the Wings for Life I work for. Could we put because we're getting ready to expand? Could we put an I don't want to say advertise, but can we buy a spot on that newspaper to let people know when? Because we're I got approved to go back to prison myself, Ken, in New Mexico. And also for the MDC, which is it's not the jail, it's the detention center. So I'm about to go to Roswell next month and to see the aliens, and then they're gonna lock me up. But I get to go back to prison now, Ken. So we're working a program where we're gonna a year to the door. We want to work with you, so you have a job lined up and an apartment lined up, and everything. Your life is up to you. You know what I mean? But
are you moving into the California system?
I don't know anything about the California prison system.
Yeah, so if your Wings to Life is not part of California, we probably wouldn't have any reason to push it.
Okay. Well, we have employers out there, like large companies that would hire them, and we would just kind of,
I mean, I can give them stories, but they're either dealing with California issues and laws and stuff like that, or they're going much broader in the federal prison system and the impact of the prison system and what's going on. They do stories about major laws that are passed and major issues that are being dealt with in various states and stuff like that.
We have
So
a handout program where our interns and other volunteers are writing all the other state prisons and
yeah,
trying to give them hope. We're not trying to get them to come to New Mexico, Ken, but we're working with companies so that when they get out, they can have a job interview waiting for them. Just a job interview. And that's all we want to do.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I need to get something to drink here. Excuse me.
Hey, Charles Manson, San Quentin. Ever meet him?
Oh yeah, we had some sit-down conversations, but not at San Quentin. He was gone. He was gone from there by the time I got there. I met him at the first prison that I was at, and he was a bizarre individual, very strange.
Even when it's just nobody's looking, he's still kind of going there.
Yeah. He was. I don't. If anybody's ever seen that interview he did with Geraldo Rivera, that monkey stuff that he did and acting crazy and stuff like that. That was him. He loved the attention. Okay, that's what it was about. And it's like, unfortunately, people bought into his nonsense and his insanity. But if you sit down and you talk to him, he'll say things and like at first you'll think, wow, that was profound. But if you really think about what he just said, is no, that's stupid, and it just the reality of it. At least that's my experience with him. And and I had a couple of conversations with him, and it was interesting, But as far as wanting to be around him and to hang out with him or anything like that, he was not the kind of guy that I wanted to be around. I had no.
I always, they say if you hang around a barbershop, you're bound to get your hair cut. So I always say, well, if you can take Charles Manson, you can get him off the drugs, you can get him off the alcohol. You still got Charles Manson.
Well, I don't think he was using anything for as far as I know. But
he didn't need to. That was my whole point.
I mean, while he was out, maybe, but I do know some of his family, and I knew Tex Watson real good, and we were doing Bible studies together and stuff like that, and he was a nice enough guy, and and there's another guy named Bruce Davis who's now part of the writing class that I wasn't part of, and they were very regretful about, and that's the one thing about Charles. He was never regretful. He never was truly regretted what he did, and that's another thing about that kind of thinking and that philosophy of life. But Charles and Bruce, who I knew real good, there's nothing about that life that they hold up as a banner and saying, yeah, that was a good thing.
Well, he always said, I never murdered anyone.
Yeah,
I did white collar crime. We never stole money. They gave it to us.
Yeah. So
Scott Peterson.
No, I seen him under escort, but
I did at Redwood City Jail. Big deal.
Yeah, and I've seen Richard Allen Davis under escort. Richard Allen Davis, I had to, I was a disciplinary clerk, so I wrote up they called it a 115, a disciplinary report on somebody who, they were escorting him, and during the escort, this guy who was ordered to sit down in a chair, as soon as he got near him, he jumped up and he hit him in the face as hard as he could. So he was a hero and everything like that. And so I've ran into all those guys. The Night Stalker, he was at San Quentin before he died.
Dan White, was that before your time?
Yeah, he wasn't there. I think he died before I got there. But what was his name? They coined the serial killer after him, Ed Kemper, and he was
maybe
he was in Santa Cruz. He was picking up hitchhikers and murdering them.
And the Santa Cruz one, yeah.
Yeah, this is early '70s. So
and the Paulie Klaus guy, what was that?
that was Richard Allen Davis.
Yeah.
So I've met some infamous and some semi-famous individuals in there.
The Steiner guy.
Who?
Steiner. There was Steiner. There was a Kevin Steiner, and then there was I know my name is Steven. There was a movie Steven Steiner. He got molested with a kid, and his brother murdered all those women in Yosemite.
Menendez brothers?
No, Steiner.
No.
Kevin Steiner. He murdered 3 women in Yosemite. He was a caretaker at a hotel. Okay, it was a big case back then, but
yeah. Some of them I didn't bump into, but I got my fair share of bumps. Ran into Jimmy Carter's nephew. He was doing time with me when I first came down, so he was there, and and it was kind of a big thing. His grandmother would go to visit him at the visiting room, and the Secret Service would want to bring in their guns into the prison. No, you're not doing that. But
that was the Supermax, Unabomber, the Boston Bomber, the Shoe Bomber, the Oklahoma City Bomber, all of them. And I made the first tray for El Chaco.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Claim to fame. Other people made the tray, Yeah.
I've been out, I got out and started working. I was working, I did some jobs, and the first job I couldn't physically handle, quit. Second job, it was working at an auto parts store, and the guy who hires me says, "You see that forklift over there? Get on it and start driving it."
An auto parts store? Oh, so just a warehouse then? Auto parts
warehouse. And he said, he 2 weeks later, he hands me a check, says, "You're fired. You can't drive a forklift." I said, "I never said I could."
Yeah.
And so a couple of weeks later, a guy hires me up and working in a print shop up in Dublin, California, and I went to work there. And
I remember that. I remember when you had that job. Yeah.
And became a certified forklift driver, and learned all those things. But COVID hit, and I started doing meetings. My program right out like we're doing right now on Zoom, and got to wandering around the world. And I was being asked to speak in different areas, and one of those places was in London, England. And
really, you went to London, or you just went there on the internet?
I'm in New Mexico right now by Zoom. Like you said, this is all about it. I'm actually in Chico, California. So I met this lady, and we she insists it wasn't this way, but I keep saying that she was flirting with me, and but we hit it off very well, and started to communicate and stuff like that. And she was a retired school teacher, and by the way, the Chico right now, the fires. She was.
I haven't watched California news lately.
Well, it's national news. It's a huge fire going on right now. Okay. But she was she lived in Paradise, taught at Paradise High School about 6 years.
Again with Paradise, I remember when that place got remember? What's that? 7, 8? Wow, again? Paradise got hit again?
Yes, it's getting hit again. There's an evacuation notice to stand by right now. That's Paradise up there. And she's literally, she went home to get her cat and get her students papers. They got caught up in a spot, and they was sitting in the middle of the wildfire for 9 hours before they told her to drive like a bat out of hell to escape. Her car was melting as she was getting out of there. There's she was interviewed by the national news and stuff. We hit it off great. Got fell in love, and finally we decided we were going to get married, and we've been married over 2.5 years now. But she was an English teacher, an English high school teacher, and she, we got in, talking and everything, and I mentioned to her that I was a writer, and she wanted to look at some of my stuff, and she thought it was phenomenal writing, and really wanted me to push it out there. But I've been busy with life and trying to get my world together. But finally, she brought over this gal that was a published author, and she used Amazon KDP is what they call it, and it's just a publishing platform. So she
Is
showed
that
me.
where they don't print it until it's like if somebody buys it, then they print it and send it out because they have that technology now, right?
Oh yeah, and it's like the entire process of publishing has just been radically shifted since then.
Yeah, so you don't have to make a million books, and now you got the pressure to sell them, right?
And you don't need a publisher to do your, to get yourself out there.
Oh yeah, and if you're a rock and roll band, you don't need a record company.
Exactly. So she brings over this author who's been doing this process and doing quite successfully at it, and so she lays it all out to me. She shows me what she's done. She shows me how she's done it all and how it's put together and everything like that. I'm watching it. Cool. Okay, okay, cool. Thank you so much. And she looked at me and she thought to herself, maybe he'll get back to me in a couple of years, and say, okay, how did you do that? And 2 weeks later, my book was on, because I had the stories. They were there. They were ready. It was just a matter of putting them together in a book form. And so I put them out there, and I'm getting good reviews. I'm on Amazon, and you can see.
How about the audio part of that? Because I know those are selling to Kindle and all that.
I need to do the audio, and that's a challenge. And I have to get good equipment in order to do that. And some microphones. I got a friend that might be willing to let me use her system. And
well, you can always just kind of change your voice whenever you want to.
Yeah, that's not the voice I'll use. I'm learning how to do this. I currently have. I just put together a collection of a journal, a 365-day through the Bible journal, and that's going up on Amazon here in the near future. And also, I'm in the middle of Virginia. My wife is editing my second. Actually, it was the third novel because that's the one that Zoe likes.
Trilogy.
Zoe was a part of our wedding. She's still a great friend of mine.
Oh, how's the grant writing? You still doing that?
No, I never.
Oh, because we can hire you now. We can hire you.
Yeah.
We have money. I'll hire you.
Yeah. But we're I'm learning how to put myself out there and kind of like, hey, look at me. I did this writing. I think that it has merit, it has value, and it has weight. So. That's what it comes down to. And life is good. I'm doing the things. I enjoy the drives that I pick up guys and everything like that. I'm heading down tomorrow to the Bay Area and I'm speaking. And I'll send you a link for that if you want to check it out, listen to it. And
how about you read some of the book? Read some excerpts. How's the word excerpts from your book?
Excerpt. Yeah. So this is coming out of the story. It's called A Course in Reconciliation. And when I talk about a collection of prison short stories, this one is this one is not fiction. This is a memoir piece of my personal experience, something that I went through. And it's a story. Is about my father coming to see me after my brother.
Oh. Okay. So that sounds like a movie, maybe too, coming in the future. Ken.
It could be, yeah.
Because that's going to bring tears,
Yeah. So, my brother's name was Ty, and so I'm going to start off on that and read a section of this. And it says, after more casual conversation, Ty went over and talked shop with some of the officers I'd introduced him to the last time he visited. As I watched Ty, this is a long conversation. As I watched Ty shake hands with his fellow officers, I asked my previously prepared question, Dad, what are you going to do? The look on his face was stoic. Well, he said calmly, I'm going to drive Ty home. Then I'm going back to Fresno and check things out. myself. As expectations became reality, my heart jumped. Chewing on my sandwich, I didn't speak for a minute. When my pain had eased, I considered how the rest of the family might react. Mom drank, she buried her sorrow in a bottle. There was little I could do for her. But Dad did not want to pass away. My father, in his middle 60s, was still robust. His barrel chest was topped with broad shoulders and thick arms, came down to strong hands that had been instruments of extreme violence. Dad was a man's man. His life shined with badges of courage and accomplishment. A founder in the sport of skydiving, is the first American to look over fall jumps. A master sergeant in the Green Berets, he saw fighting in some of the hottest battle zones in tours of Vietnam. I took a drink of soda, washed down the food. I couldn't speak the words, but I had to. I'm now the oldest, and a self-inflicted duty had fallen on me. I spoke for all 5 brothers, not living and now dead. I don't think I said conviction, want to be must be dead. He brought his head up, gray eyes wide, shocked as his exposed intentions. It disrupted his rehearsals of torment and anguish. The stunned look slowly changed as he factored in my knowledge of his plans. Then confidence replaced shock. Another visage came upon him, which I had never seen on him before that day. From a man who'd taken too many lives, his next words held total conviction. No one does that to my son. Most would only understand that to be as a passing anger, but 17 years of prison life brought clearer meanings of violent intentions, and I knew well it was no good. And Dad, the rage was connected to a mind that stared death many times in the face. I knew that it wasn't what he wanted to hear my next words. Let the legal system deal with it all. His voice was hard and deep as he spoke. I don't want those fuckers alive, he said with rage. I want them dead. He pointed with a finger at some unseen offender. I'm going to tie them to a tree, and they're going to see what I can do with a knife. His hands open and closed, emphasized his words. They're going to die like dogs, just like they left my son to die. His eyes gleamed over with ferocity. His bloodlust was even surprising to me. That's where I'll leave it. You want to buy the book, you want to get the rest. And these stories, by the way, many of them have been published in pretty far broad ways. They're award-winning stories that I've gotten a lot of recognition for. So.
Okay, yeah. Ken, I got a let's see my books here. I know I have some contacts out here. Ken, I was doing this talk show with Waiting for Life. I have a list of 400 contacts of people in Albuquerque who like give back to the community, authors, executive directors, just every average citizens who are helping people make a difference, employers. Every week I've had 2 or 3 or 4 people come on, and I'm in contact with all of them. And I have a lot of contacts. Ken, I'm gonna push your book if that's okay.
I appreciate that. So for anybody who wants to see that, wants to watch the video, I'm going to stick my QR code up there, and they can read it from their phone if they feel like doing that.
All right. And this guy here, I'm going to put this up here for you, Matt Clark. I took something from his webpage here. You can Anyways, I want to hook you up with Matt. I'm going to give you his phone. I'll text you his phone number. He's got man. When I met him, he had about 5,000 subscribers. I think he's got 200,000 subscribers now. He's finally getting big, but he's been putting in the work. But he will push your book and have you come on the show. And
Thank you.
But I got a few people. Again, I'll just be sending you. Watch your phone and your emails, and I'll do what I can to because I love helping somebody. Ken, you deserve it. I mean, you deserve it. All those kids in prison, and you have this. I don't know. You don't have an attitude, Ken.
What do you mean?
You don't have that attitude. Yeah, you don't be talking like this. Like, what are you doing? This fucking guy. You don't have that. They talk like this when they. That's New York. You know what? Like in Oakland and San Francisco, they have. You could tell when somebody. It's like a prison accent. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, you hear it in the meetings, in the rooms.
The thing
I can't.
I'm grateful for life that I've been given. Okay, that's reality, and you know, and it may not be enough for some, but that's okay. You know, I'm glad for what I've got, and I don't worry about but I did walk out of prison. I had no retirement. It's like, I busted my butt I was a good worker inside of the prison system for many decades. I had no retirement. I mean, I did the work that the staff were supposed to be doing. And when they started to shift the rules and laws and everything like that, I no longer could do it. And they had to they had to go in and hire somebody and pay him over $70,000 a year for the work that I was doing. So, I mean, but I came out with a bunch of stories, and I've given a lot of accolades for that, and I figured I might as well try and get them out there for people to look at.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if your wife is interested in doing the grant writing, Kevin. We lost our grant writer, so and we would send you the grants and you write them, and you work from over there, but we have the money to hire you guys. So ask your wife.
Well, we didn't do the grant writing programs, though, unfortunately. But
if you can write a grant, that's really what we want. We don't care what education background you have, just write the grant.
Yeah, noted.
But you know what I mean. I know. Yeah, there's a little bit more involved than just writing a piece.
But there is a format for it, and I think that we both got the skills to do some of that. So
we tried it at the office with like 6 of us, and they nailed us like $5 for every incorrect word, every letter. They take it off out of the grant, and I'm like, they're doing what? And it adds up. I mean, $5,000 a letter and stuff. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, we never got into it, so I couldn't answer your question.
They do. You don't write the right proposal. You don't answer the questions the way they want. Instead of a $100,000 grant, you end up with like $32.
Yeah.
No, they penalize you. They penalize you for improper grant proposals. So it's tricky.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I do gotta get going. What is it, 3:05? Because I gotta get over to Rio Rancho. That's kind of like going to, if I'm in San Francisco and I'm gonna drive down to, I'll say Walnut Creek. That's where my girl lives. So I'm gonna go over there, have a little barbecue. And I got a girl now. It's been over a year, Ken. She hasn't left me. She hasn't ran away.
What happened?
I got real. I got honest.
You got tired of suffering?
I just, instead of putting the walls and push them away before I get hurt, let the walls down. I mean, really,
It actually works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works. If I tried it 20 years ago, I don't know if it would have been real, but now I don't want to die alone, Ken.
All you got is today.
I just got diagnosed with early prostate cancer. Don't remember this, no big deal. I 10 years in the making. I had a lot of tests and things. But my dad had it. He lived to 94, so I had some symptoms. But I turned 60, and so I had some blood coming out of places. But I'm not. Doctor said, hey, right, 10 years. Don't worry about it. Maybe 20. So I'm not freaking out, Ken, but I'm getting old. This comes with it,
And by that time, they'll have new technology and medicines and stuff. Sure. You never know.
My old doctor said, just drink some water and walk the track, and you may or may not have the symptoms. I remember that? Prison doctors.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Thank everybody who stayed this long. It's like, good God.
Yeah, I've been coming and going. It's the middle of Saturday.
Between me and you, then. So.
Yeah, I have to do more videos, Ken. I've been maybe doing one a week, and they quit watching when I'm not consistent. So it was a Saturday too. I think I need to do a Saturday 2:00.
I have not.
I got a buddy, Harvey Talks Prison. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Time. He has done a show for 4 years now. He did 29 years in Missouri State prisons. Same charges you had, Ken, pretty much. But he has not missed a Saturday in 4 years, and he beat me. He has more subscribers. But I'm gonna catch his show. We're good friends, so I made a lot of friends on YouTube, Ken. But
how many viewers are on here right now? Do you know?
it says two on Facebook, but I could switch over to YouTube. It had 18, and then I don't know if the TikTok. I'm also on Rumble. Do you know what Rumble is?
No.
It's a right wing thing, and then I'm on TikTok, which is left wing, so I get both.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
I go left and right, you know.
Yeah. You swing both ways, huh?
Well, I'm not in San Francisco anymore. I don't have to do that.
Well, all right, I gotta go. But
it's a blue state here, so you gotta.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't talk politics. I couldn't do it in San Francisco, and I definitely can't do it here. But anyways, Ken, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will be plugging your book. Check your emails, check your phone. If you get strange texts or links, click them. I won't steer you wrong. God bless you.
All right, bye.
Yeah.